Unfortunately, after we realized that the Afghan government and the Afghan army were not capable of holding the country in the long term against the Taliban, unless there was some sort of deal, a power-sharing deal with the Taliban. So that's what President Trump set out to do. He tried to make a deal with the Taliban. He did make a deal with the Taliban, which would have led our military to leave on May 1st. Of this year.
So what happened there?
So President Biden extended that deadline to August 31, and then everything went to hell.
It's what we're seeing is a massive failure from our commander-in-chief.
We're seeing a huge failure. President Biden said last week, he said the buck stops with me, and I don't think he realized at the time how much that is going to come back to bite him. It is already biting him, and what we're seeing is that it just seems so clear that things were done backwards. We evacuated our largest military presence, Bagram Air Force Base. We evacuated that a couple months ago in the middle of the night, leaving almost all of our equipment, millions of dollars of equipment.
And now who has that equipment?
And the Taliban now has that equipment. And we left in the middle of the night without telling our Afghan allies, showing them that we don't trust them. And, the dark side of the story is that they have proved that the $100 billion we have spent over the last 20 years training and equipping the Afghan National Army and the Afghan National Security Forces, the police force, was money wasted. Because the Taliban, what happened between August 10th and August 15th is that the Taliban came from their power bases into each new city and provincial capital, and they approached the army units through the means of the tribal leaders in the area, and they said, "Are they
called like garrisons? Is that what they're called there?"
They approached the garrisons of the Afghan National Army. Usually, I'm informed, using the intermediary of these local tribal leaders and saying, "Leave or we're going to kill you all." And in every instance that I'm familiar with, I'm not familiar with any serious fighting that took place between the Afghan National Army, who's been trained by the United States for at least 10 years to resist the Taliban. They did nothing. They threw down their arms and fled. And the Taliban, within 5 days, took over this massive mountainous country with very poor roads and communication, and finally rode into Kabul on the 15th of August. And our only beachhead left in Afghanistan is around the north side of Kabul International Airport, where we are trying to get the last American civilians, the last American military units, and also Afghan people who helped us, who would be killed, and many of them already have been killed, because obviously how does the Taliban how have they tried to get us out?
Right.
They have tried to kill any Afghan who would work with us as an interpreter or in other ways, and those people, the threat to their lives is imminent.
And so seriously, there's implications for Americans and anyone who's been friendly towards the American effort there, but also there's insane implications for women and girls, right,
Absolutely.
Moses? And it's so heartbreaking.
The Taliban is notorious for probably being the most hostile regime to women on the face of the earth.
Women will be raped. They will be beaten. They have been beaten. There's viral videos going around of this. It's tragic. They won't be allowed to leave their house or walk around without a male counterpart. Men with young wives will be killed, and their wives will be taken. This is already happening. I mean, Christians are fleeing to the mountains to get out, right? They're trying to hide, and women and girls are absolutely scared for good reason, and it's devastating. It's absolutely devastating that our failure, America's failure, and Biden's failure is causing this.
Yes. This is our generation's Vietnam. It's a much smaller military commitment.
Catastrophic,
50,000 people, 50,000 American soldiers died in Vietnam. We're looking at something like fewer than 4,000 American combat deaths in Afghanistan. However, hundreds of thousands of Afghans did die in this 20-year civil war that we got ourselves involved in, which is already going on between the Taliban and the tribal chieftains. And we have now left this country, and
now people are falling off of planes because they're so desperate to get out. Did you see that viral video too?
Man.
It's so tragic.
Horrifying images.
Thanks so much for watching this video clip from the Family Beacon podcast. You can get full videos here or listen wherever you get your podcasts. Learn more at mfc.org/TFB.